Hey guys, what's going on? Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to part one of our pro tip extravaganza on tattooing. The reason I wanted to do this is because I thought it would make a good pro tip series. We could do the whole thing on, because tattooing is pretty, it's got a lot of ins and outs and stuff like that. And I wanted to go over it with you guys, and I think you'll find it educational, useful, informative, and we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun. We did with the pro tip road trip extravaganza in 2015, so we're going to pick up where we left off there. Um, anyway, what I want to talk to you guys about today is the history and origins of tattooing. Um, I'm going to kind of gloss over a lot of stuff just because there's a ton of information, so I want to just hit the high points. First of all, tattooing is old. Safe to call it ancient. Uh, Dates back to uh, thousands of years ago. Since there's been advanced civilization, there's been tattooing. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. Um, from the time of ancient Egypt, Persia, uh, in ancient European cultures, the China, Japan, into the Indonesia region, the South Pacific, and even into South America, Mayans, Aztec, Incan, all those cultures, they had tattooing thousands and thousands of years ago. Ötzi the Iceman was dug up in 2015 in the Swiss Alps, and when they defrosted him and started looking at the preserved corpse, guess what? He had tattoos on him. Noticeable, well done tattoos dating back to, I think, roughly 3,200 years BC. Okay, so add that on to today. Let's say 5,000 years there's been tattooing. 5,000 years. Okay, so you don't have to sweat it being some new kind of fad that's going on. Tattooing is old. So jumping ahead, to what we would call like the modern era. Captain James Cook was an explorer from Britain at that time, and his travels throughout the world by ship, he would come across these islanders and stuff in the Pacific region, Polynesia, Fiji, Indonesia, and all these small islands that sort of dot that area. And his science officers and stuff would communicate and interact with these people, and they would get tattooed by them. And this is when they use the old stick method, and it's all tapped in by hand by these tribes. And then they would go back to England and discuss it. Now, remember, there's already been tattooing, but James Cook helped to spread the culture quite a bit more with his travels, because when they came back, they actually invited a few of these tribesmen to come back and show them how the tattooing was done and stuff like that, and that sort of helped advance everything. So if we then move ahead to, I would say, right around the run up to the Civil War in the 1840s in America, the first tattoos were done by German immigrants on both Union and Confederate soldiers. And these were done out of the first tattoo parlors. And sometimes they would go camp to camp in the North and in the South and tattoo the soldiers. So it was a military thing at that point. And then if you move ahead right around World War II, it's a myth that American servicemen who were fighting in the Pacific Theater brought tattooing back to America. It's a myth. There's some truth in it. What that helped them to do is just make it more popular in America. And right around when they were serving over there in all these small little islands that they used for jumping off points to fight the Empire of Japan, they ran into the same cultures that James Cook did, 200 years before. So that's kind of brings everything full circle, right? And then when they came back, they brought that knowledge and that interest in tattooing back to the United States. And by the 1970s, you saw commercial tattooing and tattoo parlors popping up all over the United States. And up until now, that's the birth of what we know as modern tattooing. And just really quickly, I also want to touch on these cultures, ancient cultures, were used tattoos in a lot of different ways. Ones were, military based, so like rank, battles fought, people killed, enemies killed. Okay, tattoos were religious in nature. They were rites of passage into adulthood, sexual fertility, marital status, and also they were put on soldiers in ancient Rome. And in areas like that, the hands would be tattooed. So if you were a deserter, they would know who you were just by your tattoo. So they were using tattoos as identification, which, if you remember from your history classes and stuff like that, identification tattoos were used on Jewish prisoners of war during the Holocaust and World War II. And that was a popular method used on different displaced peoples and cultures throughout the world. So tattooing also has an extremely negative side to it. It was used very negatively back in the day, and even still today. So don't forget, there is good and bad in everything. So that's kind of a brief history, and I hope you guys learned a little something. So stay tuned, because the next part of the Pro Tip Extravaganza, Part 2, what I'm going to talk about is what I call reconnaissance, recon. I'm going to tell you guys how to find your tattoo artist / tattoo parlor locally, which you should be able to find there in every town in America. I'm going to tell you guys how to build your portfolio. Every tattooee needs to have a portfolio. You should be keeping track of all your pictures and stuff and this and that. And then I'm going to show you how to build your idea about what you want to get as a tattoo and where you want to get it placed on your body. And then I'm going to teach you kind of how to work with your tattoo artist, because remember, they're the artist, you're the customer. Okay, you have to work together. But we're gonna talk about that in depth on the next Pro Tip of our tattoo extravaganza, guys. I can't wait. I think we're doing really well on this. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed this history lesson on tattooing. I hope you learned a little something. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care. Have a great day.